Need cheap coins right now? Check out redzonecoins.com. For the very best discount available, use code DIRECTOR for 20% off. Yo, what up, brothers? What's up? It's the Director. This video is gonna be so hard to get through. I think the hardest losses to stomach are the losses where you clearly looked like the better team on the field that day. But despite all the talent, despite the ability, despite the poise, you still fall short. This was the LA Chargers this week. The Bolts drop yet another close game this week to the limping Carolina Panthers. We are now 1-2, and if I'm being honest, it feels inexcusable. Because as much as I want to blame other factors, I feel like we ultimately did beat ourselves. Now, before we get into the thick of this video, I do want to say Carolina played a good football game. I don't want to take anything away from their win. No sore losers over here, man. Bridgewater looked solid, their defense stood up and made plays, and I'd say they schemed very well against us this week. This video isn't meant to take away any legitimacy from their performance this game. Now, with that being said, I cannot walk away from this week without feeling there was some level of bullshittery afoot. I really hate being that guy, but I call it as I see it, and what my eyes tell me is that the refs messed up this game for us on several occasions. We will definitely discuss this, but I have to say the three biggest topics I want to cover contributing to this week's poor performance are penalties, turnovers, and the importance of momentum. We got some work to do, boys. Before we get into this video, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. Week 3, as titled, a series of unfortunate events. Last week in my pregame show, I talked about how this matchup could be one of our best performances of the year, and I still stand by that. My prediction was a ludicrous 34-10 victory for the Chargers, which I've already been getting cooked for, but it's okay. Because again, I still think this was the outcome that this team is capable of, truly. But we don't live in Never Never Land, and the reality of the situation is, we lost. And there are a lot of important questions that arise from this L. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? What are the areas that we need to focus on right away before going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and the Bucs next week? Let's get started. The penalties. I'm doing this one first because I know a lot of you guys want me to cover this. Now, when you step back and you look at it, 8 penalties for 60 yards, looks bad. Not the worst I've ever seen, but still bad. But what made them one of the biggest swinging factors in this game was the timing of these penalties. Now let's start with Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa may have shown a weakness these last few weeks. This guy is hungry to get off the line, and sometimes that anticipation has caused him to jump off sides. It's okay, Joey, you're still a beast, but this has been evident of several offside penalties this game and in games past. If I'm Bosa, I'm studying Brady's cadence all week long, because he's still our greatest asset on defense. He just needs to clean those up. But unfortunately, this week did result in a few first downs, which was pretty huge for Carolina. Now, this can be considered the biggest penalty of the week. It falls on the shoulders of Damian Square. 3rd and short, Panthers line up for a field goal, and the kick is good. However, a flag is thrown. Square gets called for illegal formation, giving the Panthers an automatic first down. This is inexcusable, because this would ultimately result in a touchdown by Mike Davis. Big yikes. Another costly penalty was in the red zone by Dan Feeney. Illegal use of the hands, and we're looking at 2nd and 20. And then we settle for 3. On the final drive of the game, likely the second to last play, Pipkins is called for a false start. And this takes us from the 23 to the 28 in a must-score situation. And we know how it ended. Just too many penalties in or near the red zone. We need to limit these. This will always put Herbert in a tough situation. And in this instance, it could have cost us the game. So those are on us, but let's talk about some of the calls that were just flat out of our control. The first being a suspect strip sack in the first quarter. You guys remember, Herbert, he was going to get, oh my God. To me, his arm was clearly moving forward before the ball came out. But you know what? Whatevs, I guess. Could have gone either way. The next one I remember was very weird. You guys remember the Panthers punt to the Bolts less than 2 minutes on the clock. And the Panthers try everything they can to pin the Chargers at the 1 yard line. And honestly, it's a whole bunch of, it looks like a circus act. And the ball flutters harmlessly into the end zone. Yay, touchback. But later, The refs determined that the Panthers player stopped his momentum at the 1 yard line to kill it. I mean, okay. His face did not look like a man that had made that play. That one was super suspect to me. And again, probably a call that could have cost us the game. But the one that was probably most pointed out, the one that everybody wants me to talk about, was the bogus OPI call on Mike Williams. Late in the second quarter, Herbert hits him on a beautiful deep ball. Flag. Offensive pass interference called on Mike Williams. I couldn't believe it, but what I couldn't even believe more was on the replay. It was clearly a bad call. You know when you're running, and your arms swing like this? Well, it feels like just as the ball was coming out, he happened to be in this motion, and then there goes the flag. This would have put us on the Panthers' 19-yard line, and instead we put Herbert in yet another tough situation. And yeah, it ultimately results in a pick. But this is significant because had it not been for this call, we would have likely scored at least 3 points, if not a touchdown. And instead, the Panthers return the kick into our territory and kick another field goal. This is easily a 6-point swing just before the second half. This absolutely destroys momentum. And what does this all add up to? At the top of the show, I talked about momentum. In almost all these cases, the Chargers were either driving or putting up a defensive push. And the timing of these penalties killed a lot of our offensive and defensive momentum. Because when the Chargers pick up steam, we look unstoppable. But too many times did we shoot ourselves in the foot with clunky red zone penalties and costly turnovers. And the turnovers, I do need to lightly cover this, guys. Although the Herbert strip sack was very suspect in my opinion, the turnovers that followed were on us. Joshua Kelly popped off for like 20 yards and fumble. You can't do that. Remember, he is a rookie, but you still can't do that. Herbert threw into double coverage, pick. You can't do that. Again, another rookie mistake, yes, but these valuable reps right now need to translate into better decision making by Justin Herbert. He'll get there. If there's anything that gets Coach Anthony Lynn heated, it's definitely turnovers too, dudes. And I'm sure it's going to be a long week of practice for the Bolts because not only did the Chargers give up 4, one of them being the last play of the game, so we'll say 3, but our defense didn't cause any turnovers as well. And against a hobbled Carolina team, we need to emphasize playmaking on defense as well. But you know what? Let's get to the bright side of this game. It's really tough to take something from this game and be like, you know what? There's hope. But there is. Despite all the bogus calls, despite all the penalties, despite the turnovers and even the suspect refereeing, we almost won this game. On the final play of the game, on one of the coolest play designs I've ever seen, Herbert hits Keenan Allen in the middle of the field, and Keenan laterals to Austin Eckler. Eckler had wide open field in front of him. He could have taken this to the house. But thus, fate reared its ugly head one last time, and the ball bounces off of Eckler's hand, falling harmlessly to the ground. Gutted. But still, like, wow. We were one play away from grabbing this win if Eckler had caught that lateral. And I don't blame Eckler, that's a tough play to make. Likely one they only practice ever like a few times. But hey, we still had a shot. And you know what? Despite another gut-wrenching loss, I have to say that very little of it falls on the shoulders of Justin Herbert. Yeah, the pick was his fault, but only after being put in an impossible situation by the bogus OPI call by the refs. Still, he looked electric yet again, throwing for over 300 yards yet again. Even in this horrific situation that we found ourselves in, Herbert looked poised and in control. The rookie showed up. His pocket presence seems to improve with every snap. He continues to show that he laughs in the face of danger when pressure is thrown at him. His passes are fast and accurate, evident with his incredible throws to Keenan Allen, Henry, Guyton, Williams, even despite the OPI call. Guys, Herbert has almost 700 yards through 2 games. This is incredible for any quarterback, let alone his 2 first games ever with no preseason and 1 week practice with the first team. He really understands how to operate this offense because he's consistently getting the ball into the hands of our playmakers. Eckler targeted 11 times, Keenan 13 times. He looked for Henry in tough conversion situations with 7 targets. He took shots to Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton on the deep ball. Herbert is exactly what this offense needed. He is in control. I love Tyrod, but no way he keeps the Chargers in this one the way Herbert did. And Justin's O-line was not doing him any favors. This is one of the worst performances I've seen by our offensive line. We were starting several backups, guys off of our practice squad, because Turner and Bulaga were both out. And despite this, Herbert still found a way to shine. And I know there'll be many guys that say, well, it doesn't matter because we didn't win. Yes, it does matter. Herbert has problems, yes, but he's done way more good than bad. And the rookie mistakes will smooth over in time. The problem is not Herbert. The problem is shoddy play calling and our offensive line, period. I mean, we called screens on 2 different 3rd and 20 situations. Like, why? If we can figure that out over the course of the next few weeks, we'll start to win games. But that is a big ask. We'll have to see if the Bolts are up to the challenge. Now, I can't end this video without giving massive props to Austin Ekeler. What a game for this beast of a football player. 11 targets, 11 catches. This man was born to make plays and make them consistently. He totaled 143 yards and a touchdown on the day. Bravo to Ekeler, man. So to wrap this up, we had a bad day. We had a bad game. We had a very unlucky game, but there's still so much to be optimistic about. We've got some great pieces, but we also have some big problems. Fix this offensive line. Fix your play calling, clean up the penalties, limit the turnovers, all of these big issues, but not unmanageable. And lastly, Lynn needs to have more faith in Justin Herbert. I think it's clear by now, guys, the kid is a star. He nearly led us to victory despite all the BS surrounding him. What if Ekeler caught the lateral? What if Herbert led a 99-yard drive from the 1 yard to win it? What if we went for it on 4th and 1 last week against the Chiefs? What if we have the best QB in this class and we ourselves are holding him back with lackluster coaching? I don't know, man. I hate to say it because I really love Anthony Lynn, but he may find himself in the hot seat if we don't change something soon. But that is a video for another day. Guys, what do you think about this game in the comment section below? Some things that I mentioned, some things I did not. I know it's a really tough week, but guys, there are things we can still be optimistic about, but it's also super important that we identify the areas that we need work because, again, we are going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in week 4. And this is where we'll truly put Justin Herbert to the test. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.